Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about the fact that you can purchase customers. Like you can actually just buy income. And this is typically how finances work. For instance, if you were to invest, what you would be doing is you are providing capital. So you're purchasing shares of a cash producing company. And then now, because you are an owner of this company, you are entitled to the ownership of the assets and the cash flow that the company makes if they give you dividends, right? So you're providing money in order to purchase income. It's the same thing if you were to go purchase, say, a rental property. You purchase the house for $500,000 and it pays you $2,000 per month in income. You literally just purchased an income producing asset. This is also why people can sell a company, right? So you can go build up a company to $1 million a year and someone might buy the company for $5 million. So what they're buying with the $5 million is the $1 million per year in cash flow. That's literally what's happening right here. So that's on a macro level, but you can execute this function on a micro level inside of your own company every singular day. And this is what I do every singular day to make money. And it's also what I'm going to explain how you can do for your own company today, right? So the first thing to understand this is to understand the concept of lifetime value. So every customer has a finite amount of economic value that they will produce for you at all, ever. So let me give you, for instance, let's say you're running an agency and you sell a service for $2,000 per month, and the average client is going to stay with you. Your average client stays with you for 6 months. That means that your lifetime value on that client is $12,000. 6 times 2,000 is $12,000. So the average person is going to stay with you for that one. Some people are going to stay for 8 or 12, or some people are going to stay for 3 or 2. But on average, over 100 people, it's going to be about $12,000. Let's say that those are your numbers. Everybody is different. If you have a higher client retention, then that means your LTV is higher, and that's why client retention is important. So now here's what you need to understand. You should be completely willing and able and comfortable with spending $6,000 to acquire a $12,000 LTV customer. Or ideally you'd want it lower, like you'd want it to be $2,000 to acquire a $12,000 client. Now, here's the thing that fucks a lot of people up, right? Especially if you're a beginner, like you don't really functionally understand this until you're significantly larger, but here's how it works, right? Clients don't just fucking pop out of the ether for no reason. Like that's not a thing. Like people are sometimes under the impression that you start a business. It's like, oh, I have this offer now, and because my offer is so good, paying clients are going to pop the fuck off out of nowhere. And it's just not a thing. In order to go find a human who is going to pay you money, it is work. Like work and resources must be expended in order to make that situation a true eventuality. Right? So there's always a spend. And this is why you'll hear things like cost to acquire a customer. It's called CAC, C-A-C. So you might see this sometimes. People are like, what's the CAC, right? And then depending on what you spend versus the CAC, I'm getting like a 1x ROAS. So what would that mean? It would mean like, I just spent $2,000 to acquire a $2,000 customer. So it's a 1x ROAS. Or I spent $100 to acquire a $100 customer. It's 1x ROAS. Now, why would somebody do that? Like, let's say, for instance, I have some product, and let's say the average, like it's a funnel, and the average order value, that means the average amount that somebody will spend who goes through this funnel. Like assume it's a $20 product and there's like an order bump and then there's a one-click upsell and they're all different prices and whatnot. And the average person who completes a purchase through this funnel is like $150, right? Now let's also say that I'm spending $150 on ads to acquire that customer. So there's a 1x ROAS. And people do this and they scale companies like this and they'll spend fucking $20,000 a day doing this. Now, if you're a beginner, you might be wondering, why would somebody ever do that? you're not making any money. It's a 1x. There's zero profit. And here's the actual reason why. It's because there's a back end. Now, the back end might be something like, the LTV in the back end might be something like $20,000. And now there needs to be a clear distinction made for you between somebody who was a purchaser and somebody who was a lead, right? So here's the thing with leads, like people who just put their name, email, and phone number into like a lead magnet or something, like a free resource. A lot of those people are fucking poor, right? They're just like, they're freebie seekers. They don't do anything. The difference between somebody, like your ultimate goal is to get somebody on this back end where the LTV is like anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to sometimes like $100,000. The difference between a lead and a purchaser is so disgustingly substantial. Like the value between these, the delta is so stupidly wide. Like for instance, it might be that for every 100 leads, or actually need a bigger number, for every 1,000 leads who get a lead magnet, you get like one client or two clients from the free shit. Now let's say for every 1,000 purchasers, like they give you money for fucking anything, like even some low ticket product, it could be like $5, $20. It might be that for every 1,000 of those you get, you sign like 50 clients. So the value of each individual purchaser who spends any money at all is so disgustingly higher than just a normal freebie seeker lead. It's way, way different. And this is why you see people running this kind of shit. So you might be wondering, like, why are these people, like, if you ever see ads and you're scrolling through anywhere, it's like, why are these people selling this like $10 product or $20 product? And then you might be under the impression, oh, I can just go make a funnel and sell like a $20 product and some upsells and I'll make a bunch of money. It's like not true at all. Nobody makes fucking any money on that shit at all. So now I'm going to make the assumption here that most of the people watching this, and obviously most of my subscribers, they're agency owners. You guys are selling a service. It's like $1,000 a month, $2,000, $3,000 per month, right? Let's say now that I've given you this equation earlier, you know what your LTV is. Your LTV is probably somewhere in the range of like $8,000 to $12,000, right? So now you're wondering, how the fuck do I buy customers, right? So first thing you need to get over is the fact that you quite literally might spend $2,000 to acquire somebody who pays you $2,000 per month, and now you have to do free shit for a month. So now here's the differentiation between where you are now and where you need to be in order to actually scale some shit up. So you're thinking of a client as a job. You're thinking of the whole operations of your company as a job, right? Except it will never scale like that. You need to think of the operations of your company as an economic machine. So you're thinking, I have to do work for a month before I get paid. I'm thinking, I have to expend economic resources I already have for a month for free in order to get paid. So it's like you're thinking like, I get this customer, I do manual labor. I'm thinking, I get this customer, I spend money to have other people do manual labor, and I'm just making a bet. I'm just gambling, right? The way you need to think of all this shit is you're in a fucking casino. Like you're literally in a casino and you're gambling. Except you're the house and you can influence the odds in any direction you want. If you find that one variable isn't converting as much as you would otherwise like it to, you could simply influence the variable and try to increase the rate with which the event you want occurs. That's it. It's very simple. So now you might be asking, well, what if I don't have a shit ton of money? Like I can't just go negative $2,000, acquire a customer, then be like break even for a month and like not make any fucking money at all until 60 days later. So that's called float. So you can't float that much capital when you don't have a lot of capital, which is a totally reasonable thing. Right? I understand that you might be in that situation. So now I'm going to present the idea to you that you can, instead of spending money, spend time. Because time is money. There's a one-to-one relationship between these two. And the best way for me to help you understand this is, let's say that you have 10 clients, and that's the maximum amount of clients that you personally can handle at all whatsoever. It is functionally impossible for you to manage more clients beyond 10, right? What that means, though, is that now an 11th, 12th, 13th client comes to you and they're like, hey, I want to pay you. The only way that you can facilitate this is by hiring somebody, paying them money, and just arbitraging the difference between the two. I purchase time from you, like Mr. Employee or subcontractor, or contractor, whatever the fuck. And then you do the work for the clients, and I just take the difference between the two. That's it. That's all you're doing, right? So there's always some economic value that like an actual exertion of effort has associated with it. You see what I mean? So there's always some amount of time. So if you don't have money, you have to spend time. There's nothing else to spend. There's only time and there's only money. And if you don't have any money, you better spend some fucking time because like that's it. And this is actually interesting. The only way that you can ever make money at all ever in existence is either because you have time or because you have money. That's it. So, if you don't have one, you better fucking spend the other. And when you get the money, you better fucking spend the money if you want to continue to make more money, right? So that is leverage. So, like, the way you need to understand this is that, like, money is like the spiritual equivalent of time. It's like a higher dimensional version of time, actually. That's literally what it is. So, now, this is the order by which you should get clients as a beginner. Right? So the first, so here are the three. Cold outreach. So you're literally like cold DMing or cold emailing somebody. Then content, like you make content on the internet. You post videos on YouTube or whatever. And then ads. And I'm going to explain why this is. Why you specifically do it in that order. Right? So cold outreach. Why do you do that? Because it's more time intensive than money intensive, and it works fast. And you get there's there's fast feedback loops, right? So what do I mean by that? I mean, like you can go spin up some offer, cold DM it to 50 people, see what the response is, and if it didn't work, you change the DM up the next day. You just go find more people, and you only spend time. It's completely free. Like you just sit there and write messages. Right? Now, as maybe you finally get a client, like you're sending some cold DMs and shit, and you get someone to pay you. Now you have money. So now you can start increasing the leverage a little bit. What do I mean by that? We're using the higher dimensional version of time. It's money because you got money now. Now you can increase the leverage with the money. So how would you do that? You'd use something like ListKit, which I own. So now you can go scrape the email addresses of 2,000 prospects for $79. That's a fucking shit ton of people to outreach to, right? So, and then you can go buy inboxes and use some shit like Smart Lead to automatically send the emails. So that's another form of leverage. So now you're going from emailing or DMing 20 to 50 people a day to like fucking 300. You see what I mean? Like it's automatic. So you literally took the money, you exerted time, acquired money with the time, so you traded it. You traded your time for money, and now you're trading the money for more of your time. You see what I mean? You're like interchanging these, and it's like you're going up this step ladder, and it's like it's just a constant arbitrage between the two. Like you trade some of your time to make a leveraged amount of money, and then you use that money to trade it back for a leveraged amount of time, and then you do the same thing, step laddering all the way up until you have $1 million fucking dollars, right? That's just what you do, right? So now you need to start doing content. Why would you do content now? The reason why is because you have a client, you actually have shit to make content on because you're doing something for the client. And now you are discovering, one, what does not work, to get results for such client, and 2, what does work to get results for such client. So you have shit to talk about. And you can make a YouTube video, you can make a Twitter thread, you can make a LinkedIn post, and then you can recycle the same shit you say over and over and over again and just say it in a different way so you have a shit ton of content. Now, content takes a little bit to start working, but when it does work, it's fucking ridiculous. You see what I mean? This is why you start with cold outreach first, because it's fast, it's a high feedback loop. Content is a pretty slow feedback loop. It takes a while to build up an audience, right? That's why you do it second. And secondarily, because you need shit to actually talk about in the first place. You need a client to talk about anything because you don't know anything in the first place without a client. So next, at this point, like say you're doing this shit for like 6 months, right? Now you're getting to that point. Maybe you have like 5 clients, 6 clients. Now you have money and you start getting into the area where you can start finagle fucking around with self-liquidating funnels. So this is what I do, right? So I have a funnel right now. It's self-liquidating. What does that mean? I'll give you an example of the numbers. So it's a $1,500 offer, and then we spend $1,500 to get a client. So it's a 1x ROAS. We kind of spoke about this earlier. Why would I do that? The answer is just to get the backend LTV. So for instance, this is for ListKit. So someone comes in on that shit, like what's the LTV after that? It's about $900. So it's literally like we're throwing forward $1,500 of capital to get $1,500 of capital back, and then have somebody who will over their lifetime spend anywhere from $900 to $2,000. That's what we're doing. I am completely cool with getting fucking 100 of those per day. That's it. That's the game. Like that is the game. Now we can make content on ListKit all the time, but at a certain point, like you can only exert so much time, and you can only buy so many. You can only find so many talented people to purchase their time. At a certain point, you just got to spend the money. Right? Here's another example. Script swipes. Like script swipes is a funnel, shows like our best performing cold outreach shit, and there's upsells. You can get recordings of sales calls, and then like a thing to cold email mastery, and then also internet money, the group internet money we have. This is all self-liquidating shit. I don't care about making money on fucking any of that at all. I don't give a fuck. I make money when you're in client ascension. So you buy all this shit, you get introduced to me, maybe you start to know, like, and trust me, or like you buy something and then you're on the email list, and then I send you links to YouTube videos, and now somehow you found yourself here watching this video right now, and you're like, fuck, I like this guy, and then you watch a couple other ones, and you're like, ah, fuck it, I want to like actually talk to this guy. Like, I want to be like homies with this. I want him to tell me individually what to do. So you join client ascension. Now, I finally get to make some fucking money. You see what I mean? Like, that's what this is. That's what's going on here. That's the funnel. And that's how you need to design your stuff. So, like, for instance, how would this be facilitated if you're an agency owner right now? I don't know, maybe you're anywhere from, you got your first client, you're like 10K a month or some shit like that. So first is that, this is a basic checklist of what you need to be doing. You need to substantially increase the amount of outreach you're doing right now. Like, you need to hit, like, I don't know, maybe you can go find the email addresses of like 100,000 people in your target market. They're probably on ListKit. Go get all of them. Every single one. Hit the entire total addressable market. There's no reason to not hit the whole fucking town. Get everyone. Buy every single email and email every single one. Cool. So now you have that whole list. So now you get a shit ton of clients from that. And simultaneously while you're doing this, make a YouTube video every week. You can just make a Loom video and like a diagram explaining how you're doing something, or show a swipe file of something, or just rant on the camera like I'm doing right now. Just fucking share anything. Right? Just show people that you're not a random internet scammer. Next. So you're doing all this shit simultaneously, right? So you're cold outreaching and you're making content. Now, congratulations, you have capital. It's time to start making funnels. Specifically, low commitment, ideally self-liquidating funnels. Like sell people some low-cost shit. Like go make like a $10 swipe file from the best performing emails you've made for e-com brands, if that's your service, or like, or make it like, $97 will run your ads for a month, or some bullshit. Just something to try and self-liquidate and buy customers, because the value of somebody who pays you even just $1 is quite literally 10 to 100 times higher than a lead who gets something for free. Make self-liquidating funnels. This is how you purchase customers. You are literally exerting time or exerting money to get somebody who pays you any amount of money, and then you nurture them and get them onto the shit with the higher LTV. That's it. That is the entire game, and it always has been the game. Fucking always. The game has never changed. It's always been that. Go watch go read the books of like some shit like 0 to 100 million in no time flat. I forgot what it's called. It's by Michael Masterson. Go read that. Like he talks about that. Like this has always been the game. Go read Alex Hormozy's shit. Like this is always what it's been 100% of the time, right? So I have 2 places I can direct you right now. If you're a beginner, like you have 0 clients and you want to learn how to make your first $1,000 online, there's a link in the description, internetmoneygroup.com. Right now, it is $35 per month. I'm going to show you what to learn, how to turn it into an offer, how to get your first client, how to make your first $1,000 online. If you already have your first client and you want help getting to like 10K to 50K per month, you should probably join Client Ascension. Client Ascension is a private group, couple hundred agency owners inside there. We talk about shit like I'm telling you now, like making self-liquidating funnels, building offers for cold traffic, making like fucking hyper-rammed cold outreach systems, like delivery systems, hiring people. I think there's like 15 coaching calls a week. You can talk to me directly. It's just a small initiation fee, and then it's $980 per month. We just changed the pricing to that. I don't know how long I want to leave it there. So if you are interested in that, you can join. Initiation fee, the $980 per month. You can cancel at any time. That's Client Ascension, and you should go watch this video next. And that's it for me today, lads. I love you. Goodbye.